The night started like any other. A blur of music, lights, and the relentless thrum of the dance floor. I was feeling amazing, lost in the music, the energy of the club, and the sharp buzz of the cocaine we'd been using. But then we ran out. The high faded, leaving us desperate for more. Pulling our money, I asked around, and someone pointed me toward a skinny guy in a beige leisure suit. He assured us his stuff was good, the best. And we bought a gram. Back at our table we started snorting it, but my friend, who was an experienced dealer, realized quickly it wasn't cocaine. "This is garbage," he said, tossing his rolled-up bill in frustration. I was determined to feel something, anything, so I kept going. Maybe it's just weak, I thought. And if I do the whole pile, I'll get something out of it. So I snorted all of it. Minutes later, I shouted over the music to my friend, "I'm going to the bathroom." As I made my way through the crowd, something strange began to happen. Red speckles danced in my vision, like static, and my surroundings started to distort. By the time I entered the stall, I couldn't read the graffiti on the walls. My vision had narrowed to a tiny tunnel. Worst of all, I couldn't breathe. It was as if all the air in the bathroom had been sucked out, leaving me gasping for relief. I stumbled out of the stall and back into the main club, still struggling for air. My chest was tight, and every breath I took felt useless. I told my date, "There's no air in here." He didn't seem to understand, brushing it off like nothing was wrong. Frustrated, I let him take me to the bar, where the bartender handed me a glass of water. I didn't want water, I wanted oxygen. But I took a sip, desperate to do something, anything. And then it happened. It felt like a punch to my chest, like Popeye had hit me with everything he had. Suddenly I was rocketing upward, shooting out of my body. All at once, the suffocating panic disappeared. I wasn't struggling anymore. I was free. There was no longer any need to breathe, no pain, no weight of my body dragging me down. I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. For the first time in what felt like forever, I could just exist. As I soared higher, I left the club, the city, and even the earth behind. Below me, the lights of Manhattan faded, replaced by an endless ocean stretching to the horizon. The sky above was a perfect cloudless blue. I arched back into a dive, plunging toward the water with no fear. Even as I thought, "Isn't water like concrete from this height?" I wasn't afraid. When I hit the surface, it wasn't painful. It was beautiful. Bubbles surrounded me, and the shimmering light danced around me as I moved through the water. Felt surreal but natural, like this was where I belonged. In the distance I saw it. A weathered house perched atop a mesa. It felt familiar, like it was calling to me. I need to get there, I thought, and before I could process how, I was already at the door. I hovered just above the threshold, aware that I didn't have a physical body. Crossing the doorway felt monumental, like stepping into a sacred space. Inside, I realized this wasn't just any house. It was the house of my ancestors. Though I couldn't see them, I could feel them. Their presence surrounded me, warm and welcoming. My grandparents, great-grandparents, and generations I had never known were all there, happy to greet me. The strongest presence was my grandfather, a man I'd never met in life but now felt deeply connected to. In that moment I understood. I was walking the same path they had. It was a profound honor. In one room I expected to see a chair facing a massive picture window overlooking the ocean, but the chair was missing. I felt a pang of disappointment. How will I see the view? I wondered. As soon as I had the thought, something grabbed me, not physically but in the center of my being, and pulled me across the room and out the window. I was flying again, this time over the ocean toward a blazing sun. The light stretched across the water, forming a path directly to me. The sensation of flight was pure euphoria. But a skeptical voice in my mind asked, "Wait, is this real? Am I dreaming?" To my shock, a deep, powerful voice answered, "More real than anything back there." Instantly, I knew what back there meant, my life, my identity, everything I had struggled with as Louisa. And it was true. This was more real than anything I had ever known. As I approached the sun, it grew larger, more vivid, until I could see intricate patterns on its surface. I thought, am I going to burn up? But instead of being consumed, I passed through the light. Inside, everything was illuminated. The light wasn't just around me, it was within me. It was love. Infinite, unconditional, all-encompassing love. For the first time in my existence, I felt completely known and accepted. I didn't have to prove myself or earn approval. This love wasn't generic, it was deeply personal. It knew me better than I knew myself and loved me anyway. I became aware of a being holding me, cradling me like a child. In my mind's eye, the being appeared serene, sitting cross-legged and radiating love. It whispered to me, "You are so loved. You are so loved." Every word was like a balm to my soul. I wanted nothing more than to stay there forever. But then the being said something that shattered me. "You can't stay. You're not done." I screamed, "No!" with everything I had. I wasn't ready to leave. I wanted to stay in the light, in the love, in the peace. But there was no arguing. I felt myself being pulled back, falling through the blackness. When I finally came to, I was lying on the sticky floor of the nightclub, surrounded by a crowd of people. My vision was blurry, and the stick figure outlines of the people slowly sharpened into recognizable faces. The bartender was kneeling over me. He had been performing CPR for 3 minutes, refusing to give up. "You were gone for a long time," he said. "We didn't think you were coming back." At the time I was embarrassed and brushed it off. But later I realized the truth. He had given me a second chance. For years I tried to rationalize the experience. I told myself it was a hallucination, a result of oxygen deprivation. But no matter how much I tried to dismiss it, the memories wouldn't fade. The love I felt in the light was more real than anything I had ever experienced. It took hitting rock bottom with alcoholism before I finally embraced what had happened. On January 29, 1995, I walked into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I've been sober ever since. Now I know the truth. God is real. Not as a separate being in the sky, but as the essence of love and intelligence that permeates everything. My purpose is simple: to share that love with others, to make each encounter a little brighter. That's how I honor the gift I was given. A glimpse into the infinite.